key there at the end. Anyways, I'm working on I'm working on putting together a cast for something called Sonic X Uncut.
Are you? Is a joke dub, or is that what you're going for?
No, a serious dub of like the entire thing. You see, here's my plan. I get all the music from all the Sonic from the two Sonic games that it covered, or Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, which I have. Get together a cast of competent voice actors, or is to redo the lines and stuff in a more serious manner than 4Kids did, and I'm gonna be Shadow the Hedgehog. Because that's what
Alex,
I can do.
why don't you just have me be someone? I'm sure I could voice act as someone on there.
You sound like Tails.
Dude, I could voice act as, like, the sexy dude. Be like, hey, baby.
Maybe you could be Eggman.
Who's the bad?
You could be Eggman. No, I have strict rules here. You have to voice your own gender.
You have to voice what?
You have to voice your own gender.
Oh.
Alex, I want you to give me your best, I'm the ultimate life form line.
I'm the ultimate life form. My name is Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. You got it down.
Mm-hmm.
Maria.
Man, we're gonna have to get, like,
I've been told I'm even better than Jason Griffith at this.
We're gonna have to add it in Silver and Blaze.
Oh, damn.
Oh shit. This guy on Reddit, his wife found the Legend of Zelda Collector's promo disc, Four Swords Adventures and Wind Waker, all sealed for $10.
Nice. Yeah, I got Four Swords sealed.
I've got I've got Collector's Edition and Wind Waker.
Oh shit, look what this one guy got.
He found his phone. Hey guys, check this out. Actually.
Better be
What's up?
Hey! Okay, so guess we should start talking about Pokemon then, huh?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go
you
get
can edit a theme song, right?
Maybe. I gotta go get my Game Boy Advance real quick. I'll be right back.
Alright.
Okay, I'm back, and I grabbed my 3DS as well.
Are you getting your Pokedex ready?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice. Now I should plug in my shit and see what my Pokedex looks like.
Yeah, I've...
Man, I think Youngstar turned his back on Kate's also.
Hey, I have a question. What was that one website when you can like put two Pokemons and look like together?
I think it was one of the Pokemon websites.
PokeFusion?
Yeah, continue. Yes, Ash Ketchum is my name. This is just wrong.
You guys know it's easier to get a hold of Chrono Trigger Japanese copy than it is to get a hold of American copy in America?
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, the Japanese version is like $20.
Man, I got the Japanese version for like $15 at a yard sale. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Whatever.
From the Philippines.
Finally, I've been using these same rechargeable batteries in this Game Boy Advance for years now. And it's just about running down. Just now. Anyways, I guess we should get this started, eh? 3, 2... Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Generations Gaming Pokemon episode. Pokemon. I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
Like no one ever was.
To catch them.
To catch them
is
is my play.
My cause.
To train them is my heart.
Let's stop singing the Pokemon theme song. I've actually... I got my Pokédex, my 2 Pokédexes right here, Red and Pearl. Hold on, let
Yeah?
me check this. I didn't. I
You
think.
didn't even introduce who we all are.
Oh yeah, same contributors as last time, folks. Well, not the same actually. We've got one new person here, Tommy. Say hello, Tommy.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Oh damn it! I accidentally closed out Pokemon
Oh,
Pearl.
also, out of favor,
Tommy,
I want to.
aka.
Sci-Fi Wasabi.
There we go.
Okay. Also, my one friend wanted me to give him a shout out. So here's a shout out to my friend Tommy. He asked me to do a shout like 2 or 3 episodes ago, so I'm finally doing it while he's
Right.
on the show. You know, give a shout out to Tommy.
Show. There you go. There you go.
We're gonna give some shout outs. Any more shout outs?
Shout out to everybody who sent me stuff.
Shout out to Tony Garcia.
Yeah, shout out to Tony. Your boy
Anyways,
Tony.
let's get on with the show now, shall we? Just gotta set my 3DS down here.
I think we should talk about Pokemon Green and Blue.
Yeah. Well, green and
To
blue.
start
No. That's red and red and green.
No, it's. Oh yeah, you're
No,
right.
it's red and blue.
Well,
Red and blue in the U.S.
There was never a green.
Yeah, there was
Right.
a green.
No,
There wasn't.
There was a green.
Green is
Oh wait, if you mean the Japanese version, then yeah.
yeah, and then
yeah.
Right.
and
You wanna explain it, Alex, or should I?
okay, yeah, I actually had a book on this entire thing. In Japan, back when they first released the Pocket Monsters games, it was Pocket. I'm just gonna call it Pokemon for simplicity. Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green. Then they made a Pokemon Blue, and then a tie-in cartridge with the TV show Pokemon Yellow. So in Japan, they've got 4 first-generation Pokemon games. In the U.S., we've got 3. And, because of that, it's why Aqua Blue is called Leaf Green in the U.S. as well. So instead of just Aqua Blue.
We should also probably mention that there was actually differences between those two ones. Like, Green was like the earliest build, and like
Yeah.
a lot of the pixel art for some of the Pokemons was like really ugly. And
Oh,
also
yeah.
there was more glitches and difficulty. So pretty much once they came out with Blue, they balanced a lot of stuff out and updated things.
Yeah, it's kind of...
So we got a more updated Pokemon game. So
It's kind of...
we didn't really miss out on anything.
Well, except that I've actually read a book that covered the Pokemon found in each area, and apparently the blue version has different kinds of things that happen in each area as far as Pokemon rarities go. Pokemon Yellow has pretty much every Pokemon in the entire game in Generation 1 in it. It's like it started the tradition of Pokemon having, like, Generation 2 had Crystal. What was Generation?
Pretty much having a vamped up version.
Yeah. Now,
Was it?
was Generation 3 like Ruby?
Ruby? No, I think Ruby was one of the stock ones. Ruby and Sapphire were the 2 regular games, I think.
No.
Or Emerald.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
Ruby,
remember.
Ruby Sapphire and Emerald were for the Game Boy Advance. But were those considered Generation 3?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's what I was making sure.
Yeah, and Generation 4 was on the Diamond and Pearl, if I remember correctly.
Diamond Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Or Generation 3 was
No, Heart
Gold.
Gold and Soul Silver is basically a remix of Gold and Silver.
well, yeah, but it's on the
Yeah.
Generation 4 engine.
So.
Crystal Math
Oh,
Edition.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, they don't have. I was just about to say they didn't remake Crystal, or for that matter, Yellow.
Crystal, in my opinion.
Oh,
Well, yeah.
I think we should talk about Generation 1 for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I have a segue thing I want to mention before we go into Generation 2.
Okay.
And I figured we kind of keep it short and just do Generation 1 and 2 mostly for this episode. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
That sounds good. So, my first
Sounds fair to me.
I'm gonna start out. My first experience with Generation 1 was like, I got a book on it. I sort of got a book on a couple of tie-in books for Christmas one year with the Pokemon from Generations 1 and 2 in it. And I mean, one was Generation 1, one was Generation 2. It was a tie-in with the TV show, like I said, so it had Togepi in it. And I've still got the posters on my wall that came with them. And then I got a game guide to green, blue, and red. That's red, blue, and the third cartridge from the library one time. It was at one of the library sales. Excuse me. And then a while later, I got hold of this cartridge of Pokemon Red I have in my hands right here now, but I didn't purchase it. This was back when somebody hacked my Facebook account, and my Facebook account was tied to my Listia account, and somebody used that to access my Listia account and bought Pokemon Red, and I wound up with a free copy of Pokemon Red.
That's an interesting turnaround of events.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have access to my Facebook account for 24 hours, but the guy bought me a copy of Pokemon Red, so thanks, I think.
Nice.
I mean, he used my points, but I wasn't going to use them anyways. And that actually did kind of get me into Listia in general, which wound up getting me back into Sonic the Hedgehog, because I wound up buying Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on Listia too. Back on topic, though. I didn't have a Game Boy for a long time. I played a little bit at one time. I only got a Game Boy Advance a couple years ago, and I chose a Charmander because, it's Pokemon Red. Why not choose a Charmander,
Right.
I named my guy Ash Ketchum, named the rival area Gary Oak, because of the books, I sort of liked the TV show for a while. I totally wiped the floor with him twice in both of the two encounters I was in, and with
That's not easy. He's Gary Oak.
and he had a Squirtle too. And I beat his Squirtle with my Charmander the first time. Then I beat his Wartortle with my Charmander. And then I beat his, what's the second evolution of never mind. Alright, I've got the Pokédex right here.
Ivysaur?
Oh yeah, Wartortle. Hold on, I'm gonna beat his Blastoise with my Charmander too, because I'm not letting my Charmander evolve. Because he learns skills faster that way. I mean, once I learn all the skills I need, I'm gonna let him evolve into a
I never really got into the deep training of
Charizard.
skill stats and stuff and single things. So.
Right, same here.
Looks like we lost Jared, so
Oh yeah.
like usual.
Currently in my party, I've got my Gyarados, which I had to level grind for a long time to get up to level 21, so that I could, I level ground one of the things that I caught a Magikarp, otherwise known as absolutely useless, until level 20.
Pretty much. Man,
Yeah, unless if you give it a water stone, if I remember correctly.
No, you just gotta grind it to level 21.
Jared, you want to tell us about your first experience with Pokemon?
Oh, I made it to the Elite.
I remember watching it
early,
in my apartment when,
I mean, I
Well,
didn't actually.
that's what I was saying. I remember watching it back in around 2000 when I still lived in my apartment, and I remember that it was probably one of the first animes, one of the first animes I ever watched as a kid.
Yeah, same. I watched. Well, I think it was the second movie that had the Celebi in it.
No, that's the fourth one.
Fourth movie, and then the guy
Yeah.
with those
Dark
Pokeballs
balls.
on him that looked like boulders. Hers are charcoal. Well, I remember
Yeah.
thinking, damn, that guy looks cool.
Man.
Yeah,
I think
that one's my favorite Pokemon movie out of all of them.
Man, I think me and Tommy probably have like a very similar experience compared to you guys because we were both like grow up during Pokemania.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
born.
So I just remember out of
Well,
nowhere.
I was 2 years old. What do you expect?
Right. No, we were in Pokemon while you guys were still in diapers. Yeah.
Yeah, like this stuff just like I don't know, just one of these days like I think the only animes I really ever saw was like Sailor Moon and like some Voltron and stuff. And, like some of the older
The
stuff.
only
that came
animes
here.
I ever watched as a kid. The only animes I ever watched as a kid was Pokemon and Hamtaro, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, for me it was, well, not a whole lot of Pokemon, but it was mostly Pokemon and Sonic X.
Oh man, we used to get
but
these
anyway.
free channels,
This was
and there was like channel 66, which like kind of came in and kind of didn't, and then like we got all the free anime movies, but like they were like the adult kind of animes. So I used to watch that
What is-
when I was like 7.
You're talking about like Rosario plus Vampire and Death Note? Or
like Eighth
Yeah,
Man
the
After,
animes I
like,
watch
Fist
now
of the
are
North
basically-
Star.
Death
What?
Note.
You're talking like
Yeah.
Fist of the North Star.
The only
and
animes
stuff.
I watch now are Death
Right. But
Jared?
yeah, so Pokemon definitely wasn't my first anime
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, what did you say,
I
Jay?
think it was like I think like Pokemon was like one of the biggest like anime explosions to hit like an entire generation of kids.
Yeah,
Up until
yeah,
like,
it was kind
up
of
until
crazy.
Yu-Gi-Oh came along.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that kind of
that's the biggest anime for kids. But the biggest anime for adults and teenagers is basically Cowboy Bebop back then.
yeah. But anyway, like all of a sudden like the Pokemania like just popped out of nowhere if I remember. Tommy, do you remember it just kind of just popping out of nowhere where all of a sudden there's the show that you're like, oh my gosh, and these games
Yeah,
and these cards out of nowhere.
It's unfortunate
Yeah,
that
it was-
4 kids got their claws into it.
Yeah.
And like
I just remember
I
watching
think I was-
like it. And then we had like
If you were
cards
watching-
like I don't think the cards are as like as near as big as they were when like me and Tommy were kids. So
yeah, no, like we
do you
used
have a
to
lot
have
of cards, Tom? Or-
yeah, we used to have like tournaments at our local. It was like a comic book
Out
shop.
of Pokemon.
Um?
Out of the first generation Pokemon, which ones are your favorites?
Charmander and
I think
Pikachu.
Squirtle. Squirtle's my favorite starter, I think, besides Pikachu.
Charmander is pretty much my favorite starter because I never played Pokemon Yellow.
And like I don't know, I wasn't too much
Well,
into the
my
starters.
favorite is
Yeah,
my
go ahead,
favorite were Squirtle, Mew, and Mewtwo.
Jay. Nice.
Hmm.
Mine were probably like
Yeah.
Jigglypuff, Scyther, and either Snorlax
I
or
got my-
Psyduck.
My team right here, in order,
I like Jiggly.
is Gyarados, Ashfire, which is my Charmander, his name, Pikachu, and Dux, which is my,
Psyduck?
no. I don't know why it's called Dux. I got it in a trade from some guy. He's a Farfetch'd.
I lost my team because my save batteries died in my copies.
I was actually afraid that was
And,
going to
that
happen to mine.
sucks.
I was actually.
Also, someone also stole
Well-
some of my Game Boy games, and Pokemon Yellow was one of them.
Oh,
So I only
man.
own copy of Silver, really.
You know, in fact,
Oh, that sucks.
I've got my actual video, of when I thought I was gonna lose my Generation 1, all my Generation 1 progress here. And, I mean, it's just like, it was
Do you
when I
guys
was
know that you can,
testing out my Game Boy player,
Nice.
and the Pokemon
Yeah,
Red
I'm
was
actually
just like
still
a
looking
reset
for
button.
one of those Game Boy players.
do you guys know that, actually you can
So-
copy, if you've done it right, you can copy your original team from the first generation Pokemon games all the way up to the current one?
Yeah, I know. Oh, you can trade it from,
But
you trade
Yeah,
from
I noticed that.
red crystal to diamond, no, crystal to emerald to diamond.
You're gonna need a original DS or a DS Lite eventually.
Well,
You have
yeah,
to go from,
I mean that's what I've got. Not the only reason I've got my 3DS right here is because my damn DS Lite wouldn't turn off long enough for me to. I mean, I was just messing with the Switch, and I was just a little bit fed up, so I grabbed my 3DS, which wasn't playing anything at the moment.
Yeah. But, yeah, mine are gone because pretty much the save battery's dead in my copy of Silver. I don't have the money right now to get a screwdriver and replacement battery. Plus, I think some of the battery acid is leaking out of it.
Oh God! You can actually
But it still plays.
take yourself a pair of pliers.
A pen and a lighter.
No, a pair of pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers, and unscrew that screw, and then you can remove that battery, real quick, and put a new battery in because you do not want your thing breaking like that.
yeah, so
but,
Gamer Sam, were you?
I think.
Re-
Yeah, man.
What's up?
You hear me?
Yeah. No, I was just asking, like, man, do you remember watching the cartoon when it first aired?
I can't remember if I watched it when it first aired, but pretty much around that same time. Yeah. I remember that first episode, I was like, whoa, and I was just blown away. And, I was like, man, it'd be awesome if I could live in, a world like that. But I think, I remember, what really was big, when the movie came out. Pokemon, the first movies, what they called it in America. I don't know what it's called in Japan's original title. Tom or Alex, or...
Let me look it up.
Yeah, but anyway, while he's looking it up,
Pokemon, the first movie.
is it just called Pokemon the first movie internationally, or is that just for America?
I mean, who knows? I mean, they change stuff like this sometimes. Sometimes they don't.
Wikipedia usually says if it is or not. But anyway, yeah. I still have at my mom's house that holographic Egyptian Mew card. You remember that, Tommy? That was coming the first few of the movie.
The promo card.
I think I've actually got that because I've
actually-
got 1,000 Pokemon movies, Pokemon cards.
Yeah, you should check and see. It sticks out like a sore thumb, but
I've definitely got
actually,
the Arceus, Zapdos, and Moltres one.
yeah, this one was kind of big because it just reminds me of that moment. Mine actually isn't my copy. It was a copy of. It was my one friend's thing, but the one I had, it got lost because someone burned my house down when I was a kid. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I still have a copy of that and a few other Pokemon cards. I'm not sure where they're buried at my mother's place, but
Nice.
Okay.
No, after.
It's called Gekijoban Pakutomon Suta Mutsu no Gyaki. Pokemon the first movie, a Mewtwo's counterattack.
Oh,
Nice.
so it just has a longer title?
No,
Mhm.
no, in America it's called Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Oh. Man, but I think
Yeah,
Tommy, do
probably.
you remember that after that movie, after the movie, wasn't that, it was around when they first brought out second gen that it started to like dwindle down in regular popularity in America.
Hmm.
Like Pokemania
Like
pretty much
what?
died as soon as they like introduced like Togepi and like Generation 2's starters.
Right. Like I still remember like I don't know the Game Boy game still being pretty big, but by that time I was kind of like done with it. But like after
I've
like
never,
first
I've
gen, though,
never
I don't know.
actually,
What the hell?
I've never actually like beat a Pokemon game.
It's got 3 segments:
Except for
Pikachu's
Snap.
Vacation, a 10-minute.
Oh, you mean the shorts?
Yeah, Pikachu's Vacation. I've got that on VHS somewhere. That's just
Yeah,
dumb.
same-
That's
same
just
here.
greedy of 4Kids to distribute it
To release
Hidden
this stuff?
in three different things.
Yeah. But, let me think. No. But yeah, so pretty much they introduced Togepi, and that was like the introduction of them starting to show Generation 2. And here's a little
Mhm.
interesting fact I think I might as well mention. If you might not know, actually a bunch of the Pokemon that were designed in Generation 2 were designed before like they even released Pokemon in America,
Well,
and they just didn't decide to include them in like the original games or whatever, and then they brought them back in like the second generation.
Mm.
Like Hu-Oh was in the very first episode of Pokemon.
Ho-Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Ho-Oh. And there's also parts of the game's code that proves that fact pretty much, that a lot of Generation 2 Pokemon were made before Generation 2 even came out. And then Togepi, of course, was kind of one of the bridgers that like bridged generations because the thing on the show. And then also
Yeah,
like one of the
like
things I
that.
always had an issue with is the fact that like Professor Oak, he's like this great doctor and scientist of Pokemon, but then he like gives a 10-year-old a thing so he could learn all his facts about Pokemon that he barely knows. So Professor Oak just pretty much has a PhD and doing nothing except for having 10 years
Yeah.
of his work. Also, the other thing I had an issue with second generation is they had all the like the pre-evolutions that would now be there before the Pokemon evolved into it. And I'm like, how for millions of years or for like hundreds of years did you guys not realize that there's baby forms of these Pokemon?
Yeah, that's just them being greedy again.
Yeah. Also, they if I recall, that's when they got rid of Brock because they thought he was racist, which is Brock's ethnicity is a very confusing factor to me, and I think most people in general.
Yeah, like I always thought he
Anybody?
was just like a dark-skinned Japanese dude.
You know,
I never really paid much mind to it.
You know what my favorite character in the entire series is? Ash's hat. Because it can always just
Yeah.
manage to change its logo.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I had a hat with the original logo on it. I think I got it for one Christmas. I don't know. I was like a huge Pokemon nerd back in the day.
If I had to get any,
Like,
yeah, if I could have only one actual Pokemon in out of the entire series, Pikachu.
like in real life.
Yeah.
I think they actually have a animal that's similar to Pikachu that it's based off of.
There's an animal that I see people
Pikachu.
shoot the colors of Pikachu. Oh, Pikachu just means electric rat.
No,
You know
it's
that?
electric mouse.
Or mouse. Yeah,
Yeah.
so. There are actually a bunch of Pokemon that are based off real animals, of course.
Right,
The most
right.
god-awful obvious one is Pidove from like Generation 5 or something, which is just literally a pigeon.
even though they've already got Pidgeotto.
Yeah,
Right.
the Pidgeot wasn't a Pidgeot. This thing is called Pidove, and it's literally a Pidgeot mixed with a dove. Like and
I don't know,
also
I
in that generation, they also got like a Pokemon called Vanelli, which is a vanilla ice cream cone, and a Pokemon that's
Yeah.
a trash pile called Trashy.
I think they
Hold
were
on, I'm-
reaching pretty deep in the bag for
I
that
got
one.
my.
Yeah, another thing I was gonna say is evidently like they planned the first two generations, but it was so successful that they told them, no, you gotta keep making more. So
Right.
I got my Generation 4 Pokedex right here. Here it's got.
yeah.
Holy crap! This guy is filled out everything because this is a used copy of the game. I'm trying to figure out a way to transfer all the Pokemon on this, which is like, oh, if I had to make a guess, I'd say there's over 9,000 Pokemon on here.
What?
It's
Man.
over 9,000!
Man, so let's see. We've covered a few things.
I'm on Generation.
Tommy, do you remember anything in Generation 2, or is that when you pretty much fell out?
Oh, that's pretty much when I fell out. Like, I was growing up and like,
I remember.
I don't know.
Yeah, I remember then, like, around that time is when, like, Digimon and, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Were coming out and stuff.
Right.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Being a whole lot
Yeah.
better than Pokemon.
I
What?
don't know. And so, like,
I don't know
Yu-Gi-Oh!
about
If you
that,
watch
man.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Isn't really better than Pokemon. I mean,
Well,
there's a whole bunch of flaws in that show.
well, you've got. Well, first off, the comic book actually has an actual plot, as opposed to Ash Ketchum just
Yeah,
running around doing random
That's,
stuff.
yeah, the manga series never. Oh, that's one thing that never became big. The manga series, I don't think ever was big as when me and Tommy were a kid, which is really weird. You think they would have adapted that and sold those?
You know something that's really, really strange about Yu-Gi-Oh?
But
They list off the characters' Japanese names, but then they go but then everybody calls Joey Wheeler, well, Joey Wheeler. All the other characters in the series, aside from Yugi, are referred to by their Japanese names, but Joey Wheeler is called Joey.
Right, man. We're American. We can't pronounce some Japanese names.
Well,
yeah, plus
His
he has
name-
a Brooklyn accent.
his name in Japan is Johnny.
Johnny Wheeler, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, come on, Alex.
It's
We're getting off topic. We're supposed to be.
we're getting off topic, yeah.
Oh, since we're talking about like the first two gens, there was only 2 games on consoles really. Well, there's more than that. There's like 4 or 5 games on the consoles for those generations.
The home consoles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got the
There was
the 2 stadium games, Pokemon Stadium and Pokemon Stadium 2, which
the 2 or 3.
yeah,
2
they're
or 3.
well 1 and 2 is what I'm talking about.
And Gold.
No, Pokemon Pokemon Stadium 2 for the N64.
Yeah, and Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver.
Wait, there's
This
a
is one of the things I
gold-
want to get into.
There's a
There was
gold-
3 Pokemon Stadium games on the N64. I'll get into that a little bit, but should we even talk about Puzzle League?
I've
What?
never even heard of it.
Pokemon Puzzle League, I forget, it was a certain puzzle game. I think it was Tetris Attack or something.
Yeah.
They pretty much put some Pokemon themes around it, and they sold it as a Pokemon puzzle game on the N64 and called it Pokemon Puzzle League. So it's not really memorable.
They had to get their money.
Yeah. Stuff like that had happened before with like games like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine and Kirby's Avalanche
Yeah.
are both the same game.
Right.
But
right.
you want to talk about Pokemon Snap?
Not really.
Pokemon Snap, I have 100%. I don't know about you guys, but
I've
when I was
only
taking
ever,
pictures of Mew as a kid, my mind was blown.
I've only ever heard of it because I've got the Nintendo
man.
Power from the time.
Alex, what you missed out on is when me and Tommy were kids, if you brought in your copy with your save to a Blockbuster, they had stations where you could print off your pictures you took.
Oh man.
Do you remember that, Tommy, at all?
Yeah, dude, it was pretty amazing back then.
Yeah. Except for I didn't have any money to ever print them off.
You know, you could actually do something similar with F-Zero GX and F-Zero AX. You take a GameCube memory card to the AX, and you can save your progress on the arcade game, so that you can use
But
it.
could you print it out at a Blockbuster?
So you can, no, you
Right.
couldn't, but you can use it. But you can use it to unlock stuff in the GameCube version of the game. GX and AX are essentially the same game, though. So
So, I guess nobody else wants to talk about Pokemon Snap than me.
Oh, I mean, I played it. I mean, I just rented it though. I never actually bought the game.
It
I
was-
remember being like
should be-
really disappointed in it though.
You mean that's an on-rail shooter,
mean-
pretty much?
Man, it's not
Like, you
even
just
a
play
shooter,
as like a
dude.
minor character. Yeah, and what's
Right,
also creepy
yeah,
is
it's not even.
yeah,
play as
you-
that Bill boy. You play as Bill, who like takes photos of Pokemon, and that's his like life ambition. Instead of catching them, he catches them on camera, which is one of the lines that they use. But then
Right.
you're on an island with like alone with Professor Oak, and he has you go out and take pictures and stuff. And I'm like, and then eventually, if you get enough pictures, somehow you float on your magical cart through some rainbows up in the atmosphere, and you take pictures of Mew. But you have to like knock Mew's bubble of reflection out. I forget how.
what kind
Right.
of drugs were they on when they made that ending sequence?
I don't know. You should watch it on YouTube. So I guess I'm the only one that knows about the different Pokemon stadiums.
Well, apparently because Pokemon Stadium is only the console series. He's listed Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Stadium 2, Pokemon Coliseum, XD Gale Darkness, Battle Revolution.
Well, Alex, you evidently don't know about the first Pokemon games for consoles on the N64, which were really limited and kind of disappointing to me also.
What were they?
Yeah.
So, you know Pokemon Stadium, both of you guys do, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It had the thing with the
Oh
Game Boy
God!
and
Hey, you
all the...
Pikachu.
Oh, I forgot about that. Let's talk about that first.
I know that the
ever play
microphone
that,
is
Tom?
incompatible with people who are over a certain age because it won't.
Oh,
It's not like
Yeah, that thing was incompatible with, I think, people trying to speak clear English with it in general, so...
yeah because the microphone one was absolute crap. That's
yeah.
Well,
That is
I don't
literally
know
the
how
only
good
thing
of a
I've ever
fault.
heard. Oh, and they made a limited edition console for it. I bid on one of those on eBay. Hey, back when I was trying to get an N64, I didn't get it.
Yeah, but anyway, Hey You Pikachu, I played that. I didn't get too far because Pikachu didn't understand me half the time. I'm gonna assume if Tom played that, that's the same issue.
Yeah.
I'd say that you pretty much need to stick to
Oh,
button commands.
also, you know what's really annoying is when we went to rent it, they didn't give my mom the microphone. So I had
Yeah,
to tell her to
yeah,
go
that-
back
that
in.
actually
'cause I
happened to
couldn't
me,
play
too.
without the microphone.
What's the point of even
Also,
renting cartridge games? I mean, if they don't let
back
you,
then it was...
I mean, did
Yeah,
they?
you gotta play it somehow.
Yeah, I mean, but did the rental version let you save onto the memory
No, it was
pack?
just the regular thing.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that's just
you get,
that's dumb.
especially
I know,
the,
it sucked
the
because
Nintendo
someone else
64
rented
had-
it in between you. If someone rented it in between you, you could like lose your entire game. But anyway,
Yeah, I thought the Nintendo 64
so-
had memory pack.
So also,
Right.
evidently emulation-wise, you can't really play Hey You Pikachu because there's no like microphone thing.
Well, you could theoretically create some sort of driver
Nobody got slide drivers for it.
for your microphone, but
Last
you know,
time.
who cares really?
Okay, so you want to say anything, Tommy?
That's pretty much. Well, they could technically port it to the Wii, use Wii Speak for it, but or one
They
of those
did do they did make a Wii port of Pokemon Snap where you could send your photos to people via Wii messages.
I don't know. Yeah, the only stuff that I actually played was like Pokemon Red, Pokemon Stadium, which was like kind of another disappointment to me because the lack of story. And then
Yeah, well,
like I
Pokemon
played
Stadium
Pokemon.
was kind of it.
I wanted to get stadiums so that I could play in my when well they had those packs for the
transfer pack?
transfer
Where
packs
you
of
play
the
your games on the TV?
yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't like the Game Boy, like the Super Game Boy, which just plugged in and let you play them on your TV. The Super Nintendo. Oh, you actually had to have a game compatible with it. I think that the only games that were
Pokemon.
actually compatible with it were like Perfect Dark and a Transformers game, which was only ever released in Japan, and Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2.
Yeah, and Gold and Silver. That's what. Okay, should I just tell you guys about that now?
Yes, please, because I can't find this on the Wikipedia
Do it,
page.
The Pokemon Stadium, what we all know, was actually Pokemon Stadium 2 in Japan, or referred to as Pokemon Stadium International. Basically, the first Pokemon Stadium they made was released way early. It only had 62 Pokemon,
Oh yeah,
and was like
Pokemon
way more difficult. You guys remember how difficult Pokemon Stadium was?
I haven't played it.
Evidently, it was way more difficult. So, yeah, Pokemon Stadium got difficult later on. So,
That's
trust us, Alex.
That's kind of odd because the Resident Evil was tougher in the U.S. Final Fantasy VI was tougher in the U.S. Metal Gear Solid tougher in the U.S. Usually they introduce a harder version of the game, and when it comes to the U.S.
Evidently, from what I've read online, of course, Japanese fans were really upset the fact there was only like 62 Pokemon.
It's 150.
So
yeah.
they redid it. Yeah, so they redid it with all 150. They fixed some things. They added some stuff, and then they released Pokemon Stadium 2, which is what we know as Pokemon Stadium.
Oh yeah, Pokemon Stadium, known as Pokemon Stadium 2 in Japan. And yeah. Huh.
Yeah. And then our Pokemon Stadium was Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver, and I don't think we have to really explain that.
Well,
so.
Pokemon Stadium. Oh yeah, Pokemon Stadium 2 was Pokemon Stadium Gold and Silver. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you can connect which generations they line up with.
Yeah, because.
But yeah, I also like. Tom, did you ever try to play those games and not have like a game to send your Pokemon team up, so you just end up playing with the rental teams and just get pissed because you get your ass whooped like later on?
Yeah.
Yeah, because was that the adapter or whatever? Was that like
the Game Boy Transfer pack
sold separately?
No, it was a bundle.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When you rented
I definitely rented Pokemon Stadium, and
Yeah.
I didn't get any sort of. I didn't even know they had a transfer pack until like I don't know, probably like a year ago maybe. So I only played with the rental teams.
Now, this is one game that I kind of want to get and play. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness for the GameCube. I've been trying to find this game for years now.
Man, that's not Generation 1 and 2.
That is Generation 2. Isn't it?
Is
No.
it? Is it?
No, wait. And it's Generation 3. You're right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, I know my first 2 Generation Pokemans.
Yep.
Man. But yeah, anyway, it was really annoying if you tried to play that game with just the trainers because... with just the rentals, because you could deal with it in the beginning rounds, but once you got to the higher up levels, it was like near impossible, because all the rentals have like base stocks that are like flat, and then all the trainers at the higher levels that you would face, they have like their boost stats like they have in the game, so you just be going against it with like the starter level Pokemon versus
Right.
like their trained hardcore ones. So you just get your ass whooped.
I remember, especially like, since I rarely bought games back then, it's like renting that stuff, and I remember Pokemon Stadium just being incredibly hard after probably like 40 minutes of playing. And
I'd hate to be
it-
playing it in
it-
Japan.
it kind of like turned me off to the whole like games like post Pokemon Red. And also, like, all that stuff wasn't it released like late 2000 or something, or early 2000 maybe?
The original Pokemon Stadium was released before then, but I'm gonna imagine since Pokemon the movie 2000 was like the second generation movie, then yeah, it's definitely before then.
Mm-hmm.
Because Pokemon 2000 was like the movie of the second generation Pokemon, and it had Lugia, or however you pronounce it, and it had the funniest thing I think is you
Luigi.
guys know about Slowking at all?
Luigi. No, actually.
but
Oh, the one where they, instead of it, you put it into the water and it bites onto the head instead of the tail.
Yeah, and you know how Slowpoke's just like this slow, mentally challenged Pokemon, and then it evolves after it gets its tail bit. But if the thing, instead of biting its tail, if it bites its head, it becomes like a genius that has like telepathy and stuff. And it's so funny.
Yeah, man.
That's
Man,
odd.
yeah, Alex, you should edit in some audio of a clip from the movie if you can find it.
But what happens if you dip its head and its tail into the water at the same time?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I don't see how. Also, like, what's the shell thing that bites its thing has like its own face and stuff. So, do you think it will eventually be its own Pokemon, or?
No, it's a Shelver. It already
that's-
is its own Pokemon.
Oh, it is? I
Uh-huh.
forgot.
Yeah, Slowbro and Slowking are two Pokemon merge into one. Oh, here's
Yeah.
something pretty cool. Pokemon Conquest. Role-playing strategy RPG. Strategy RPG, rather. Blah, 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 blah. Why do they have to say role-playing strategy?
That's also. I like tactics games, but anyway, that's like Generation 4 or 5. So.
Mm.
Did you guys ever play the Pokemon card game for the Game Boy?
No.
Oh, I barely played that. That was first gen,
yeah.
alright.
That was one of my more favorite.
I rented it.
Yeah.
I remember reading about it. I've actually got a promo trading card for it, but I've never played it.
Tom, you wanna talk about that a little bit, because it sounds like you've had the most experience.
Well, it was pretty much just like pretty close to the actual card game, except for it was kind of easier because you didn't have like actual people. Like you could kind of like learn the strategies of the opponent.
Hmm.
But
And also, you didn't have to buy random packs in real life.
Yes, it was a whole lot
which is
cheaper.
kind of like, which is also my downfall in the real life card game. But
I bought.
I remember it being.
I only ever bought like 2 starter decks for Diamond and Pearl, and then I had a whole bunch of like I said, had over 1,000 cards in from like Generation, all of them.
Yeah.
I remember like the original card game with me.
You wanna?
It was
Yeah. The
You wanna
first
talk-
set was like. Yeah. Tom, did you get like people that got Japanese cards in your area? I'm assuming you did. Like,
Actually, I think my
were you like,
the
whoa?
comic book. Yeah, no, because they were like, Japanese wording was pretty cool back then and everything. So like, it was more like a I
novelty.
don't even know the word for it, man. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I got some Mexican cards, Spanish cards, French cards, and Japanese cards.
I remember people would bootleg also a lot of Pokemon cards back then.
Well, like Seto Kaiba did with
printed up cards.
Like Kaiba did with the Blue Eyes White Dragon, or rather Mokuba.
Kinda. There was a few different things that people did. Like, the most obvious thing people would do was, print out one on a piece of paper, and they wouldn't even, like, bother gluing it to anything better, so it would just look terrible, there's, like, no way you fell for it.
Yeah.
Then, people would go and, they would print out, like, the Pokemon card, and they would, like, glue it over, like, a really shitty card that was useless, like an energy card.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Or, like, some people got a hold of some kind of printing stuff, and they printed off, like, bootlegs. I don't know how they did. But then you could usually tell because the back of a card was usually, like, instead of, like, its regular color, it'd be, like, kind of greenish or something.
Yeah.
Sort of like how my printed out cover of Tales of the Abyss looks really crappy compared to an actual PS2 cover.
Yeah, probably.
Mm.
Let me try to find something.
Card game Gamer.
I've got probably in the entirety of Mississippi, I've probably got all the Pokemon cards in Mississippi because there's literally nobody to play with. I mean, they got Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments at the local game shop where I play D&D, but no Pokemon.
They still sell and make Pokemon cards for the current generation. Like,
Yeah.
kids at my place coming. So
It's kind of weird to see them in Walmart and see people buying them, but you never see anybody actually playing them.
I don't even see my nephew or any of his friends or anything play them. Like,
I've played 2 matches, as both were with my dad.
yeah. Oh, you know what's also weird is Tommy, do you remember seeing any the Pokemon Japanese cards that were offensive or something? So they changed them.
You mean the ones with the swastika on them?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, I've actually seen those before.
It's a Buddhist.
You never
symbol.
saw those?
It was a Buddhist symbol for good. Let me explain something here to all the viewers and listeners out here.
Yeah, actually,
Here.
Alex,
It's
used to play that.
It's a Japanese symbol for good luck. The Nazis appropriated it. You see, when Adolf Hitler designed the Nazi flag, it was red for the socialism, and white circle for nationalism, swastika for good luck.
Right.
And
Oh, I found it.
that's it.
It was a trainer card.
Yeah. And then Nintendo had to
And
discontinue them because the Anti-Defamation League got a hold of them from some importers and talked to them, and Nintendo should have just been like, no, it's a Buddhist
that's
symbol.
kind of a hard thing to explain. It's kind of a hard thing to explain to your average person though, because
Well, yeah. Well, we're not exactly famous, but the more people who actually clear that up, the better.
Yeah, but I think the funny thing is I don't see how that's that hard to explain because it's man, how can you not someone not understand when you're telling them that Hitler stole a design from someone?
Mm-hmm.
Man, Hitler was a pretty stand-up guy from what I heard. He'd never do something like that.
Yeah, man, he would have never stole ideas from someone or call it his own.
Yeah, even though he pretty much ripped off his entire shtick from operas.
Yeah.
And he ripped off his mustache from Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin?
Mm-hmm.
But
Before that,
yeah, I wanna get something off my chest before I take off though. When I was playing the card game, and we were in my I was going against people that obviously bought booster packs, and I only had my starter deck. So I used to try to stack my deck. So like, I'd get like the good cards first, and then like, enough energy in order to like actually cast something. Well, not cast, but like
Uh,
attack. and and I still lost like 90% of the time.
That's sad. That's
It
you see.
was.
You see, that's part of the It's my personal experience with it is just like it's not as good. It's not the same as the game. You know. Well, I mean, it deals with a completely different set of rules to try and make it more fair, but because it doesn't work that well, because it doesn't work the same as the game, it's not as interesting to me.
Right.
And my cards have just been sitting in a box,
Because
sitting in a shoebox collecting dust.
Also, for me personally, pretty much after Pokemon and a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh card battle games just lost their appeal.
I've got my
Right.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards are sitting with my Pokemon cards and my Bakugan.
Ukakegan?
Bakugan.
wasn't that?
Okay. Oh,
I've actually
I found something really messed up when looking up for that Pokemon card. I'm not sure if I should. I'm gonna show it to you guys, but I warn you.
what is it like that? There was actually an episode of Dragon Ball Z where, well, Gohan and Trunks
No,
beat
I
up
don't.
Adolf Hitler.
This was like in the Google search for the Pokemon swastika card, and that showed up.
Nice. Oh man.
So, yeah.
That was pretty nice.
Yeah. I warn anybody to have a filter on if you Google anything with Pokemon swastika cards.
Oh man, Gamer Sam, did you ever? I don't know if you were ever into like the Pokemon card game, but did you ever hear of anybody getting like real badges when they like?
Oh yeah,
I don't
man.
know, played some
We got
games?
those from Toys R Us was one of the places in our area. The Toys R Us was
Yeah.
pretty much the thing that did that.
I live
Nice.
in the middle of frickin' nowhere here in Mississippi. Yeah, I live on the Gulf Coast. The nearest town that has a GameStop is a mile away. It's like
Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't get out. You didn't get too lucky, did you?
there's no real anything around here for hobby gaming except for the one shop that just opened a couple months ago. Well, about a year ago, I'd say. Hey, but the mall is closing because of Walmart's going to be replacing it soon. So we'll finally get a GameStop in here. Here in the game shop, this gaming shop that's already here is going to be moving to another plaza a little ways over. It's pretty cool.
And Alex, but what you missed out is when me and Alex were kids, and when me and Tommy were kids, is certain places they would have like if you got so many. I forget how did it work. Do you remember how it worked out, Tommy?
It's like if you won or even if you lost, you'd still gain points. Like you'd get 2 points if you won or 1 point if you lost. And then after you get like so many points, they'd give you a badge. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, like I lost so much that like they still gave me a badge, but like it took me probably like 3 weeks of going like every Friday just to get it.
Yeah.
But,
I had issues where.
Alright, guys.
Okay, man. See you, Tommy.
See you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I gotta get to work. I'll see you guys later.
Okay, man.
Yeah, no problem.
See ya. So, it looks like Jared might be back.
I just added him back for the hell of it.
So yeah, you missed out on that part of getting actual little badge things. Of course, mine are all gone because I melted up into a fiery ball. But anyway,
Were they actually like the
show?
yeah, the badges
Yeah,
from the show?
kinda. Yeah, they were all themed of the badge of the show.
Were they like
Let me
metal
see
or
if I can
plastic?
Google it. I think a mixture of both. Hold on. Like, they were plastic, but like, no, they were metal, but like, they had little things like, I
There
don't
were
know if
actually
I can't
Pokemon
find like a
games.
Google.
There are Pokemon games on the PC. You got Pokemon Project
Like
Studio.
legit ones?
Yeah, legit ones.
Oh
Released
yeah,
by
those,
Learning Company. You got Pokemon on trading Pokemon TCG Tempest, otherwise known as Pokemon Play It. Well,
yeah.
Pokemon Play It came in the Pokemon on
Oh, there was I
Tempest.
think there was a Pokemon game on the Sega Pico, or whatever, however it's pronounced.
The PicoVision.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think I recall that was the only Nintendo game on a Sega system. But
Control F.
pretty much all the PC Pokemon games were,
Wow, Sega Pico. Pokemon games were released for the Sega Pico and Advanced Pico Obina. You got Pokemon Catching the Numbers, Advanced Generation, and Hiragana and Katakana. Advanced Generation Pico for everyone, Pokemon Loud Battle, whole Advanced Pico Bina. Advanced Generation in Pokemon Number Battle, Intellectual Training Gel, Pokemon on Diamond and Pearl Letter, and Number Intelligence Game, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Search for Pokemon Adventure in the Maze, Pokemon Best Wishes, Intelligence Training, Pokemon Big Sports Meet. You can tell those are all Japanese titles because Japanese exclusive because of the titles, because they're word salad titles.
yeah. Plus also, I'm pretty sure the Pico never came out in America. But anyway, what was I gonna say? All of the Pokemon PC games were like really crappy things that were made. Pretty much the cash-in on the TV show and stuff. So, I remember as a kid getting one of the demos for one. I was like, or at least I don't remember if it was short enough to be a demo. If it was the full thing.
Yeah, the Pico was released in the U.S. in '94.
I don't know anybody that's ever had one, so.
Why would you?
I'm gonna get sure.
Why would you? It's one of those crappy edutainment computers. They had a Power Rangers tie-in on it.
Oh man, you know I need to keep that with my Leapfrog.
Well, it was called
But anyway,
Denji Sentai Mega Ranger, but it's a Power Rangers thing.
oh, is it the show that they stole Power Rangers from?
Well, no, it's actually Power Rangers is actually what they do is they take the costumes,
Japanese shows,
the costumes and set pieces,
and some of the scenes
from Japan, and then they redo all the stuff in the U.S. Well, not in the U.S., in New Zealand.
Yeah. You think we should wrap up because
not
I think
really.
we talked pretty much. I mean, we talked about. I think we should kind of wrap up, and then we should record a second episode about Pokemon with like the later stuff.
That actually sounds pretty good. So I guess we should see you guys later then, eh?
Yeah. Should we say that the next episode's going to be part 2 of Pokemon, or should we just say that it could be something else, and we'll do like a mini episode or something about Pokemon?
I don't know. Last time we tried to do a mini episode, it didn't work out right.
Yeah. Well, okay. I guess we'll just see everybody next time then.
Yeah. Peace out.